The Book of Judith, chapter 1. In the 12th year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, who reigned in Nineveh, the great city, in the days of Arphaxad, which reigned over the Medes in Ecbatane, and built in Ecbatane walls round about, of stones, hewn 3 cubits broad and 6 cubits long, and made the height of the wall 70 cubits, and the breadth thereof 50 cubits, and set the towers thereof upon the gates of it, 100 cubits high, and the breadth thereof in the foundation 60 cubits. And he made the gates thereof, even gates that were raised to the height of 70 cubits, and the breadth of them was 40 cubits, for the going forth of his mighty armies, and for the setting in array of his footmen. Even in the days King Nebuchadnezzar made war with King Arphaxad in the great plain, which is the plain in the borders of Ragu. And there came unto him all they that dwelt in the hill country, and all they that dwelt by Euphrates, and Tigris, and Hydaspes, and the plain of Arach, the king of the Elameans, and very many nations of the sons of Chilod assembled themselves to the battle. Then Nebuchadnezzar, king of the Assyrians, sent unto all that dwelt in Persia, and to all that dwelt westward, and to those that dwelt in Caesarea, and Damascus, and Libanus, and Antilibanus, and to all that dwelt upon the sea coast, and to those among the nations that were of Carmel and Gilead, and the higher Galilee, and the great plain of Esdraelon, and to all that were in Samaria, the cities thereof, and beyond Jordan unto Jerusalem, and Bethane, and Chelius, and Cadiz, and the river of Egypt, and Taphnes, and Ramses, and all the land of Geshem, until ye come beyond Tanis and Memphis, and to all the inhabitants of Egypt, until ye come to the borders of Ethiopia. But all the inhabitants of the land made light of the commandment of Nebuchadnezzar, king of the Assyrians, neither went they with him to the battle, for they were not afraid of him. Yea, he was before them as one man, and they sent away his ambassadors from them without effect and with disgrace. Therefore Nebuchadnezzar was very angry with all this country, and sware by his throne and kingdom that he would surely be avenged upon all those coasts of Caesarea and Damascus and Syria, and that he would slay with the sword all the inhabitants of the land of Moab, and the children of Ammon, and all Judea, all that were in Egypt, till ye come to the borders of the 2 seas. Then he marched in battle array with his power against King Arphaxad in the 17th year, and he prevailed in his battle. For he overthrew all the power of Arphaxad, and all his horsemen, and all his chariots, and became lord of his cities, and came unto Ecbatane, and took the towers, and spoiled the streets thereof, and turned the beauty thereof into shame. He took also Arphaxad in the mountains of Ragu, and smote him through with his darts, and destroyed him utterly that day. So he returned afterward to Nineveh, both he and all his company of sundry nations, being a very great multitude of men of war. And there he took his ease and banqueted, both he and his army, 120 days. The Book of Judith, chapter 2. And in the 18th year, the 22nd day of the first month, there was talk in the house of Nebuchadnezzar, king of the Assyrians, that he should, as he said, avenge himself on all the earth. So he called unto him all his officers and all his nobles, and communicated with them his secret counsel, and concluded the afflicting of the whole earth out of his own mouth. Then they decreed to destroy all flesh that did not obey the commandment of his mouth. And when he had ended his counsel, Nebuchadnezzar, king of the Assyrians, called Holofernes, the chief captain of his army, which was next unto him, and said unto him, Thus saith the great king, the Lord of the whole earth, Behold, thou shalt go forth from my presence, and take with thee men that trust in their own strength, of footmen 120,000, and the number of horses with their riders 12,000. And thou shalt go against all the west country, because they disobeyed my commandment. And thou shalt declare unto them that they prepare for me earth and water. For I will go forth in my wrath against them, and will cover the whole face of the earth with the feet of mine army. And I will give them for a spoil unto them, so that their slain shall fill their valleys and brooks, and the river shall be filled with their dead till it overflow. And I will lead them captives to the utmost parts of all the earth. Thou therefore shalt go forth, and take beforehand for me all their coast. And if they will yield themselves unto thee, thou shalt reserve them for me till the day of their punishment. But concerning them that rebel, let not thine eye spare them, but put them to the slaughter, and spoil them wheresoever thou goest. For as I live, and by the power of my kingdom, whatsoever I have spoken, that will I do by my hand. And take thou heed that thou transgress none of the commandments of thy Lord, but accomplish them fully as I have commanded thee, and defer not to do them. Then Holofernes went from the presence of his lord, and called all the governors and captains, and the officers of the army of Assur. And he mustered the chosen men for the battle, as his lord had commanded him, unto 120,000, and 12,000 archers on horseback. And he ranged them as a great army, in order for the war. And he took camels and asses for their carriages, a very great number, and sheep and oxen and goats without number for their provision, and plenty of victual for every man of the army, and very much gold and silver out of the king's house. Then he went forth in all his power to go before the king Nebuchadnezzar in the voyage, and to cover all the face of the earth westward with their chariots and horsemen, and their chosen footmen. A great number, also sun-dried countries, came with them like locusts, and like the sand of the earth, for the multitude was without number. And they went forth of Nineveh 3 days' journey toward the plain of Bechteleth, and pitched from Bechteleth near the mountain which is at the left hand of the upper Cessala. Then he took all his army, his footmen and horsemen and chariots, and went from thence into the hill country, and destroyed Phud and Lud, and spoiled all the children of Ramses, and the children of Ishmael, which were toward the wilderness at the south of the land of the Chileans. Then he went over Euphrates, and went through Mesopotamia, and destroyed all the high cities that were upon the river Arboni, till he came to the sea. And he took the borders of Cessala, and killed all that resisted him, and came to the borders of Japheth, which were toward the south over against Arabia. He compassed also all the children of Medan, and burned up their tabernacles, and spoiled their sheepcotes. Then he went down unto the plain of Damascus in the time of wheat harvest, and burnt up all their fields, and destroyed their flocks and herds. Also he spoiled their cities, and utterly wasted their countries, and smote all their young men with the edge of the sword. Therefore the fear and dread of him fell upon all the inhabitants of the seacoasts, which were in Zidon and Tyrus, and them that dwell in Sur and Achani, and all that dwell in Jemanan, and they that dwell in Azots and Ascalon feared him greatly. The Book of Judith, chapter 3. So they sent ambassadors unto him to treat for peace, saying, Behold, we the servants of Nebuchadnezzar, the great king, lie before thee. Use us as shall be good in thy sight. Behold, our houses and all our places, and all our fields of wheat and flocks and herds, and all the lodges of our tents lie before thy face. Use them as it pleaseth thee. Behold, even our cities and the inhabitants thereof are thy servants. Come and deal with them as seemeth good unto thee. So the men came to Holofernes, and declared unto him after this manner. Then came he down toward the seacoast, both he and his army, and set garrisons in the high cities, and took out of them chosen men for aid. So they and all the country round about received them with garlands, with dances, and with timbrels. Yet he did cast down their frontiers, and cut down their groves. For he had decreed to destroy all the gods of the land, that all nations should worship Nebuchadnezzar only, and that all tongues and tribes should call upon him as God. Also he came over against Esdraelon, near unto Judea, over against the great strait of Judea. And he pitched between Geba and Scythopolis, and there he tarried a whole month, that he might gather together all the carriages of his army. The Book of Judith, chapter 3. So they sent ambassadors unto him to treat for peace, saying, Behold, we the servants of Nebuchadnezzar, the great king, lie before thee. Use us as shall be good in thy sight. Behold, our houses and all our places, and all our fields of wheat and flocks and herds, and all the lodges of our tents lie before thy face. Use them as it pleaseth thee. Behold, even our cities and the inhabitants thereof are thy servants. Come and deal with them as seemeth good unto thee. So the men came to Holofernes, and declared unto him after this manner. Then came he down toward the sea coast, both he and his army, and set garrisons in the high cities, and took out of them chosen men for aid. So they and all the country round about received them with garlands, with dances, and with timbrels. Yet he did cast down their frontiers, and cut down their groves. For he had decreed to destroy all the gods of the land, that all nations should worship Nebuchadnezzar only, and that all tongues and tribes should call upon him as God. Also he came over against Esdraelon, near unto Judea, over against the great strait of Judea. And he pitched between Geba and Scythopolis, and there he tarried a whole month, that he might gather together all the carriages of his army.